What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, these games are a little weird for me. Because on the one hand, you do enjoy getting to play these lower sides, especially non-league sides, which I honestly thought Chesterfield was like League 1, League 2. Didn't realize they dropped into the non-leagues. But you enjoy playing those teams because it's going to be an easier match. It's not. There's some pressure on you to play well and to win, because if you don't, then it's really embarrassing, right, Newcastle? But on the other hand, it's also a chance for some youngsters to get in because you're willing to play them against teams like this. So there's kind of a benefit to it. However, from a reviewer standpoint, to talk about these games, sometimes they can turn into, yeah, he played well. Yeah, he played well. And that's all you can really talk about because there's not really much to dig into. However, around the 75-minute mark, that all changed when, one, Barkley came on, and two, then we give up a goal. And while it's frustrating, and from a fan point of view, I'm looking at that going, really? You couldn't keep a clean sheet against Chesterfield? From a reviewer's side, I'm like, well, at least I have something to talk about aside from just, oh, he played well and he was good and he was good. I do have some negatives to address now, so there's that. But yeah, let's start with Tuchel, because as far as his lineup was not bad, and it ended up looking really good in the first half. I was really unsure when I saw the players out there. I'm thinking, who's our defense? Because I don't know anything about Hall, so I don't know if he's a defender. Apparently, he normally plays midfield, but I was just like, is he going to play left back? Is he going to play left center defense? What are we doing here? So to see that it was Christensen not in the middle, Sarr in the middle, and then Hall back there, like, okay, that's interesting. Really, really different. Normally Christensen's in the middle, and to have Christensen and Sarr both back there is very scary. And then you put Hall, who, I mean, obviously he did well, but don't know anything about him, don't know if he's an accomplished defender or not. It is kind of scary. And then you've got two wings instead of wing backs today, because you got Hudson Odoi, and then Pulisic and Ziyech were kind of switching a little bit. And then you get into the midfield, Saul's in there again, so that's always a worry. And then Kovacic, good midfielder, but not really a defensive one. He can do both sides of the ball, but he's not super effective, and he doesn't really have a lot of build. He's just got speed, so if they have a big body in there, it can be a worry. And then you've got Lukaku, Werner, and like I said, Ziyech and Pulisic were kind of switching off up front. So, I mean, the front three, kind of four, is fine, but everything back there is kind of like, I don't really know what to expect. And also Bettinelli in goal, obviously is his debut for us, so really don't know what to expect from him. So yeah, I was a little concerned, but then as the first half went on, we showed we had more quality, we were better on the ball. Hall, like I said, he proved that he's good. He's got a lot of quality, at least enough to take on a non-league side like Chesterfield. So overall, the first half was fine, and then you get into the second half, and his subs were okay. You got Havertz coming on for Lukaku and Loftus-Cheek coming on for Kovacic, probably resting them for the midweek. And also giving Havertz and Loftus-Cheek some minutes just to get their legs back. And then I think Vale came on for Pulisic. And then who was the other one? Oh, and Baker came on for Christensen, which Baker did play in defense in the preseason, so interesting to see him again, even though he's not really been involved since the beginning of the season. Vale, good to see him get some minutes. Young player who's looked good in his few, debut moments, and he's got a lot of proving to do, and he's got a lot of hype around him. So good to see him getting some minutes, and good to see Tuchel allowing him to show what he can do. And then you've also got Barkley coming on late, and this is where for Tuchel I just don't get it. Like, what's Barkley done recently that's proven why he deserves to play? Nothing. Maybe he's putting him out there because he's thinking, well, there's a lot of rumors going on that we're looking to sell him, so maybe they're trying to say, hey, come and get him, showing what he can do and maybe raising his price a little bit. But the problem is, one, if all these rumors are true and there is talk that he is leaving and that's the case, even if it's not the case, just the rumors itself could get into his head, he may not want to play for us right now. He may be like, well, if I'm done here, then why am I even out here? So that can drop his performance, which he already doesn't perform very well. And then on top of that, you put him in the window, you do play him so you can hopefully raise his price. Well, that is only if he plays well. If he goes out and does what he did today, a lot of teams are going to say, you know what, we're going to pay like maybe $13 million for him. we're going to drop that a little bit. We're thinking maybe closer to 10. Because really, I mean, who would want to pay anything over 10 million for a player like Barkley? That's a lot. And that's only because he's gifted on the ball. But everything else in his play drops his price. So why are you giving him that chance? And you look at the bench, Jorginho's on there, which is fine. You don't play him because, one, I don't think he helps you anyway, but that's apparently just me because everybody else thinks he's amazing. But also, you're probably resting him for the midweek as well, so you don't need to risk him getting hurt. And then you got two youngsters, though. You've got Simons and you've got Webster. Both I've heard good things about, and Simons played pretty well against Brentford. So I don't know why you're not looking to them, and instead you go, nah, let's send Barkley out. I mean, if I'm either of those two youngsters, I'm looking at him going, really, coach? Is that how little you think of me, that you don't think I would bring more than Barkley? Look at that. Look at what he's doing. You really think I couldn't do that better? So, yeah, I don't get that. But aside from that, just talking to individuals, like I said, I'm not going to have a whole lot to say about most of these players because they just generally all play well. There are just a few that I will address a bit more specifically. First of all, Bettinelli, I mean, didn't have anything to do, did okay with the save before the goals scored. Because, I mean, that's just, what else can you do? You know, basically a one-on-one chance. Baker did well enough to keep the guy from basically being in on goal. But, I mean, he makes the first save well. It's just unlucky that it deflects to somebody and then nobody's there because we'll talk about Sarr in a second. But, I mean, did well in the first one, and that's basically the only real save he had to make throughout the entire game. So just unlucky for him that it deflected to a wide-open player because somebody wasn't doing their job. As far as Christensen's concerned, you know, nothing really to talk about for him. You know, he just did okay. Typically, he's not good as one of the flanking center backs in a back three, but today against Chesterfield, I mean, he wasn't really tested, so he didn't have anything to worry about, really. Sarr, yeah, I had my issues with him. You know, I thought against Tottenham he looked okay until Tottenham stepped it up in the second half, and then those opening moments of the second half when Tottenham were really putting high pressure, he looked a little shaky. Today, first half, didn't have anything to worry about. It was pretty easy for him overall. Second half, pressure came on him, and what happens again? He looks uncomfortable. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He looks lost. So it's very clear that, yeah, whenever we're not under a lot of pressure, whenever we're just in comfortable control of the game and the other team's kind of sitting off, Sarr's fine. But we play in the Premier League where that never happens. So, Sarr's not good enough for the Premier League. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And it was proven again today. Second half, when they stepped up on us, Sarr looked uncomfortable. Sarr looked lost. He didn't look like a good defender second half because there's pressure, high press, speed, coming at him, balls over the top. That's the type of stuff we can expect from a lot of Premier League teams. And he couldn't deal with it. The goal, completely his fault. It's all on him. I know it's a team game. Everybody's got to do their job. No, it's all on him. Hall was injured. So I'm not really going to blame him for not getting back quick enough. Vale is not a right wing back, so I'm not going to blame him for not getting back. What I can blame is a defender, Sarr, who should know, okay, I don't need to press here. The ball is up in the air. This guy is already up in the air. I should not be stepping out, especially when it's on the left side of the field. I should not be stepping out here to try to win a ball that I'm in no position to win. But he does that. Guy flicks it over him. Defender breaks in behind. So now he's got to chase back. Baker does well to cut him off. What does Sarr do? Well, okay, I need to go press the ball because Baker's already on the ball, right? So I need to go press the ball as well. That way, nobody else is marked. Because it's just me and Baker right now defending. So I need to go press the ball, which Baker's already doing. So that way, these two guys are wide open. And there's nobody over there because I'm a smart defender and I know what I'm doing. No! You don't go after the ball. You don't chase the ball in that situation. You make sure you work together. Baker's done a good job of pushing him a bit wider, so the guy, all he could do really was just have a shot, and it kind of was at Bettinelli, who made a good save. But Sarr, instead of stepping over here and cutting off the other two players, he's right here next to Baker, so that shot gets deflected, and Sarr's he's done. He's not involved because he's watching the ball and he's on the ball. And it wasn't the only mistake he made in the second half, but it's the biggest one. It's the most obvious one, especially when you're playing against a non-league side and you get beat so easily. If that is how you get beat against a non-league side, I don't want to see you against a Premier League side. Which he's only faced a couple, and the couple that he's faced, he looked lost. Against Brentford earlier this season, everybody was raving about him, talking about how great he is. Did you watch the game? Every crossfield ball, he has no idea what he's doing. No idea what's on his back shoulder. And then when the second ball comes in, he's running here instead of, okay, I'm already not going to get to that ball. Let me wait for the second ball. No, he's running this way now, and now the ball gets headed over him, and he's beat. And if not for Mendy being an outstanding keeper, we would not have won that game. Because Sarr was giving them so many chances because he's lost. He's not good enough for the Premier League. So why do we keep seeing him? Why did we go get him and not hold on to players like Tomori or Zuma? I don't get it. Gahey has shown that he's Premier League quality at Palace this season, and we're sitting here with Sarr as our backup, who can't even defend against a non-league side. So, there's my Sarr rant. Hall, the opposite side of the coin. Youngster, didn't know anything about him again. I knew he was on the bench. I knew he was on the bench against Brentford in the last round of the FA or the EFL Cup. So I knew that. I knew nothing about him. And then he gets put in a defense. I'm thinking, okay, he's a defender. And then they actually mention, no, he's normally a midfielder. But you couldn't tell today. I mean, the only way you can maybe hint that he's normally on the ball in the midfield is because his footwork is pretty good. He did well to kind of make his room, to dribble out of some pressure, that type of thing. I thought he did well on the ball. Defensively, though, he worked hard to win it back. He worked hard to put pressure on players. There were a couple times he was beaten behind because I'm assuming positioning-wise, not really sure where to be sometimes. But he did well to work back, get behind the ball, and make them make a mistake. And then on top of that, assists one goal and has a shot which leads to another goal. So he was just... It was like he had some desire today to say, you know what, Tuchel, I'm going to show you I'm worth giving a shot. I know I'm not going to play a whole lot, probably not going to upseat most players, but I deserve to at least get a chance in like the FA Cup. Maybe in the second leg against Tottenham, maybe have him on the bench just to see if he can bring something. I highly doubt it just because he played the full 90 here, and he seemed like he was feeling it by the end of the game. So I doubt he's going to play again midweek. I just don't think he has the fitness for that. But I tell you what, he's definitely showed today, and again, it's against Chesterfield, so a little grain of salt in that, but you do have to look at that performance and say he wants to play. He wants to show what he can do. He has the desire to go out and work his butt off. And I think he should get rewarded for that. I'm not saying, start him over some of our first team players because that would be dumb, but I think he would be a useful backup, and especially, when you have a bench where you're missing some players because of either, testing positive for COVID or, they got some injury going on. I think it's a good way to say, hey, come on, come on the bench. Just be here. You're here in case we need you. And I think that would be a good sort of boost for him, especially based on how he played today. I feel like rewarding him with at least some time on the bench, and even, you play against a team and you're kind of dominating the game, give him some minutes in those games, where you're 3-0 up and nothing to worry about. Play him. Give him a chance to show what else he can do. So I really hope Tuchel does reward him for his performance today, because I thought he was probably the best player. I think he was the man of the match, personally. And that's not saying everybody else was worse, just because of the unknown quality, the fact that he's not normally a defender, the fact that he's a young player, I think he's 18, all of those things, for me, he was already as good as some of our best players out there, but that little bit, that little unknown variables, I guess is the term I'm looking for, that kind of pushes him up to man of the match for me. Talk about the wingbacks next. Hudson Odoi, I thought played well in the first half. Second half did sort of fade a little bit, but first half went out there with a bit of a fire. Couple moments where he did sort of turn off, but overall I thought his play was good. and it sort of overshadowed those few mistakes that he had. But it's good to see because he's a player that sometimes doesn't really like being a wingback. And there's one game, I can't remember which game it was now, but I remember looking at him thinking, like, does he even want to be out there? Is it because he's playing wingback and he's been playing up at the front three recently? And so now you move him to wingback, and what is he pouting about it? Because he just didn't look like he had a desire to be out there. Today, much more the mentality I want to see from him, and he created a lot of good chances down that left side. And then Pulisic, I'm going to say Pulisic was the wingback on the right side just because he's played there before. But yeah, I mean, overall he did okay. Obviously won a penalty in the second half. But I mean, he was just fine. Didn't really do anything spectacular. He played well. Looked dangerous out there. Sometimes came inside and let Ziyech swing out wide. But I mean, he's still a clever player. Still did well to make some good moves. But all in all, it was a good performance from nothing over the moon, but good enough. And then the midfield, Saul, another game where didn't make a whole lot of mistakes, but didn't really do anything spectacular either. I will say, couple mistakes here and there in the second half whenever the pressure came on, and then that one sliding challenge that led to his yellow in the first. A little weird that he didn't get subbed off when he was on a yellow, because after that challenge I'm thinking I would sub him at halftime because I don't want to risk going down to 10 men and giving Chesterfield any sort of hope in this game. But Tuchel left him out there and obviously kept his nose clean for the rest of the game. But yeah, I don't know. He got man of the match against Tottenham for some reason. I think it's just because people have expected such crap from him because of how bad he was earlier on, that now that he's just doing okay and he's not really making any mistakes, he's just sort of doing his job, suddenly now he's amazing. And I don't really feel like that's quite right because, yeah, he's doing okay. He's not giving away the games anymore like he was earlier this season. But he's still not doing anything special. He's still just sort of there. He's making decent passes, but it's not like he's not Fabregas. He's not Kovacic. He's not Conte. He's not even Jorginho, honestly. So it's weird to see people praising him so highly because he's better than he was. It's like, okay, but where he was like near bottom of the barrel. So, yeah, congrats. He's now a decent player. I don't think he's man of the match against Tottenham. Nowhere close. So, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Again, I don't understand how Jorginho was third in Ballon d'Or, but whatever. Some people they see, they did something. Congrats. Did something. Did something good? Did something bad? Who knows? But they did something. And then Kovacic, I thought he was one of the better players today in the first half, just making stuff happen, good runs out of the midfield, good passes up front. I would like to see him take a few more chances, but also I know that his finishing is not always great. Like, he'll hit some great ones. Whenever he scores, like the one we saw against Liverpool, whenever he scores, it's a brilliant goal. Problem is they're like 1 in 20 shots. So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because with all of his quality, you would think he would be a great finisher. But for some reason, when he gets in the final third, it's like his shooting just not great. And even his final pass sometimes it doesn't always work out. But today I thought his final passes were looking a lot better, but he didn't really take on a whole lot of shots, so that was probably the only thing I would say I want to see a bit more from him. Ziyech, I thought played okay as well. He scored from the penalty spot, but aside from that, I would have liked to see him score a few more. He had some chances to do so. And I think I said the same thing against Tottenham. There are moments where he's looking good and he's playing well, but he's not finishing. And he's not, aside from that penalty, he's not scored, I think, in like the past, 6 games that he's featured? Something like that? I don't know. I don't remember when the last time he scored was. But it's kind of a problem because he always ends up in good spots and he's there to score, but it's like he can't do it for some reason. So I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know why his finishing is not at the same quality that we've seen before. But yeah, I would like to see a bit more from him in the finishing aspect because obviously we know he can because he's got a great left foot. But yeah, just recently you think about the one wide open shot he had against Lloris against Tottenham, and then today there was one moment where finds himself in a bit of space at the top of the box and pretty much all he has is just the goalkeeper in front of him and he hits the goalkeeper. and then Havertz's shot, blocked by the defender. But I'm looking at that chance thinking, you should finish that. You went for power instead of placement. You should be placing that in the corner. The keeper should have no chance. So I don't know why that is, but it's definitely something for him to look at, especially because everybody's like, oh, Werner, he missed that one chance against Tottenham. Werner missed that. It's like, are you guys not looking at anybody else on the field? Because Werner's not the only one missing chances. There's some with even better chances that are missing. So, but on to Werner. I thought he played well again today. Very hard worker as always, constantly just busting it up and down the field. Glad to see some love for him after the whole Lukaku debacle. I hate the fact that Lukaku's getting shit on because of that. But it's good to see that some people are like, it's good to see a player that's not going to get all up in his feelings and all hurt emotionally because he's not getting what he wants. And that's what I've said about Werner for a long time. I think he's a great workhorse. I think he's somebody that will just constantly bust it. Mentally, he's strong, solid, doesn't really get hurt feelings about anything. If anything, he just gets pissed at himself and works harder because of it. So, yeah, I love having him on the field and good to see him get a goal today. I would have liked to see him score a couple more just to kind of silence some of those people that are like, oh, I should have scored that one wide open chance. But it is what it is. Fans will always find that one thing to complain about. And then Lukaku, better from him today as well. Could have had a few. There were some really good chances that I feel like his touch is just a little bit off right now, and I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a fitness thing, because he's been out for a while before recently coming back. But there were definitely some moments, a couple cross-field balls, one from a corner and one from Werner, a good run down the line, that cut back to him, and it's on his left foot, and you feel like bury it. But one he skied over the goal, and then one he put wide. So just I feel like the more he plays, the more that touch will come back, and the better he'll start to find the net. So, but overall, it was a good performance from him again today. The work rate from him since coming back from that injury has been phenomenal, and that's something that I feel like cannot be stated enough, because earlier on this season I did not see this type of work from him. Early this season I did. First couple games he was fine, but it was like probably around the time he did the interview and he was feeling upset because, we're not playing like how I want to play. You could really tell the way he was working, it was not helping the team. He's just sort of out there, he's walking around, shoulders slouched, ball doesn't come right to his head, he's not changing his run to try to get on it. Now he's all over, he's moving around the box, and it's great to see. Subs that came on, Loftus-Cheek did okay second half, worked hard, made some good runs, had a couple really good runs near the end of the game, but overall just did fine. Nothing fantastic, but still showing that he's got the work rate and the quality to do the job and do it well. So good to see. Havertz, I think, still looks much more comfortable not having to be the sole man, the target striker up front. I think even though Werner's playing a bit more left, Havertz is able to drop in deeper because he knows Werner's going to make those runs for him. Whereas whenever it's Havertz in the middle with like Pulisic and Mount, they're all going to be dropping to receive the ball and nobody's making those runs in behind like Werner likes to. So I feel like it really causes the defense some issues whenever you've got a real striker up there. Even if he's not playing in the center, a striker that knows how to make runs in behind, they have to be wary of him. And then honestly, they'll get drawn to him a bit more. But I really feel like Havertz playing with a striker, not having to be the focus of the attack, I feel like he has a lot more room and a lot more freedom to do what he does best, which is pick it up deep and then try to make something happen. And he's playing really well right now because of that. So I think that's good to see. And then you've got Baker and Vale coming on. Vale, kind of quiet, didn't really see much from him, and I was a little disappointed in that. I would have liked to see him get a bit more involved, but I also wonder if that's because he's playing kind of outright, and I don't know if he's a winger. He seems to be much more of an attacking mid, so I wonder if that kind of hindered him a little bit for him to have to force to be out wide. Just because he does have a lot of hype, I would like to see him get on the ball a bit more and see what he can do with it. But overall, he just came out there, worked hard, did okay. Baker, also same thing, just kind of went out there, did okay at defense. I know he's not typically naturally a defender, but he looks okay at defense. I don't think he's going to be, upseating anybody anytime soon, and obviously he's probably in the later stage of his career, but maybe for like a, put him out there, see what he can do type of situation like I was talking about with Barkley earlier. This was a good one. This was a good one to say, hey, he's got some quality. He can defend well. He can move the ball decently enough. He's got a bit of pace on him. He's a good one to have. He might end up going to, I know Newcastle's going to be buying a lot of players trying to save their season. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Newcastle because I feel like defensively he could probably help them a bit. But yeah, overall he did fine. Just solid back there. And like I said, tried to fix Sarr's mistake, but he's just one man against three. And really, yeah, it was basically a 3-on-1 because Sarr was just there. He wasn't really helping. And then Barkley, like I said, I don't know why he's out there. I don't know why he's playing. I think it's an insult to Simons and Webster that they don't get any minutes, whereas Barkley gets to go out there and just sort of do nothing with it. You know, again, he gets on the ball 5 touches, without a doubt. It's always going to be at least 5 touches because he can't just one touch pass. He can't 1 or 2 touch pass. It's got to be touch, 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 or touch, 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 touch. Touch, 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 touch. It's just, he's doing nothing with it. I'm getting pissed watching him because it slows down our attack, which, yeah, we're up 5-0, whatever. It's fine. We don't have to go and score more. But wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you want to go out there and be like, hey, let's do something. Let's make some more chances. Let's try to score a few more. Let's try to break our record. Why not? We're playing so well. We're on the ascendancy. Go out there with some energy. But no, Barkley goes out there and just takes away all energy because he takes 5-6 touches and allows the whole defense to adjust. They're set. Now they can defend. And it was such a huge change from the first half because first half it was pass, 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 and they didn't know what to do with it. And even if it was, taking more than 2 touches, it was touch, 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 touch down the field, from like Kovacic or from Hudson Odoi or from Werner. With Barkley, all of his touches within 5 yards. That's it. He doesn't go anywhere with it. He's in the same spot by the end of his dribble. He's taken 5 touches and he's not moved. So the defense has nothing to worry about. And then I think the biggest, if I saw this as a coach at any level, if I saw this player would not be playing for me anymore. He gives the ball away. Terrible pass, lazy, just sort of, just no power on it, right to a Chesterfield player. And nobody's behind him. He was the last midfielder and then the defense. So there's no other midfielders behind him, just the 3 defenders. Gives the ball away. And this is within the last couple minutes. We already saw what Chesterfield did whenever they scored 1. Could you imagine if they scored 2? I mean, they would have absolutely just thrown it in our faces that they scored 2 on us. A non-league side scoring 2 at Stamford Bridge. Would have been embarrassing. It's the last minute of the game. Barkley, subbed on, gives the ball away, jogging back as they're breaking to goal. What's even more embarrassing about this, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Saul beats him back. Barkley's here, Saul is here, closer to the goal, gives the ball away, and as the ball's rolling out for a throw-in because we want it back, I see Saul coming onto the screen, and then Barkley's here. Saul beat you back. He played the full 90 minutes, and he's slower than most of the players we have on the field. I think he's slower than Jorginho, and he sprinted back faster than you, and you're the one that gave away the ball. So, again, I don't know what Tuchel's mindset is, but for me, as a coach, that's no. From a subbed player. If that was Hall, if that was Saul, if it were Sarr, I probably would have been pissed just because, again, I've already seen some mistakes. But if it were a player that's been playing throughout the entire game, they give the ball away and they don't work back, I would have been like, that's not good enough. Take better care of it. But I would have understood why they didn't bust it to get back, because they're probably worn out. Now, Spilicueta, he's going to bust it no matter what, because that's just the type of player he is. But to have somebody that just came on the field 15 minutes ago, give it away, a midfielder, no less, and we know he can run. Because when he's on the ball, he's quick, he's got pace, he's got strength, he can run. He gives it away, and he's the last midfielder to get back, even though he was the last one back. I'm pretty sure Loftus-Cheek was ahead of him too, and he also beat him back. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse why he should not be the first midfielder back to help defend. So, for me, Barkley's career has already been in the toilet. He's not been good enough. He had that one game where he made one great pass, and everybody thought he was back. Again, because man of the highlight reel, he can do something fantastic when he's on the ball. But everything else outside of that, everything when he's not on the ball, is just worthless. He doesn't bring anything to the team. So I've already thought for a while, like, he's done. Like, he's not going to make it for us. The best he can hope for is get a move to another Premier League side, like maybe return to Everton, maybe go into Newcastle, I don't know. But just something where he can be the man again. He can be the target of the attack, give him the ball, let him do something fantastic with it. That's not what we do at Chelsea. At Chelsea, it's a team game. We all pass, work off of each other, make runs, all of that. Like, that's the type of play that we've seen under Tuchel. Barkley doesn't fit into that. So I've already thought for a while, he needs to be gone. This, in my opinion, should drop his worth to the point where I would expect to see him playing in the Championship. Like, that's how far I feel like he's fallen. Because, I mean, that work rate, that's not going to cut it at any Premier League side. So, I just don't see him as a player that managers are going to want to work with. Because he's not going to bring anything useful unless he's on the ball. Which, again, if he's playing for a side that's kind of lower down, maybe a Norwich, maybe a Newcastle, maybe a Burnley. If he's playing for a side where just give him the ball and let him do something fantastic, yeah, he might do okay. But I don't see him playing for a top half a top half Premier League side again. Like today, you had 15 minutes to go out and show what you've got left, and he showed me less than nothing. So that's my Barkley rant, and that's basically like the other big thing I wanted to talk about aside from Sarr's defending. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's obviously a good result. It's a good win, but to not keep a clean sheet is just very disappointing. And to have somebody who should feel like he wants to prove himself go out and do less than prove himself, when you've got two youngsters on the bench that really probably want to prove themselves, it's just very disappointing, in my opinion, from Tuchel's point of view. I feel like, in that sense, he got some things wrong today. And obviously, you know, in the grand scheme of things, is that going to hurt us that much? No. we won this round. It's 5-1. We still put 5 past them. We still played well, even though we're not really at full strength right now. Both strikers scored today, so that's also a great thing. And, you know, you've got some players, some youngsters that are coming in and showing some energy, showing some quality to show, hey, if we're missing some numbers for whatever reason, we do have some that can kind of fill in the gaps for us. So overall, I mean, it's a good performance and a good win. Just with those two negatives, it adds a little bit of bitterness. And I think a lot of that is down to because we obviously should win today. So it's one of those, you should win, so the only thing that you can really talk about are kind of any surprise positives, like Hall doing well, or any negatives. Like, those are really the ones that shine the biggest in games like this, because it's really, you should be keeping a clean sheet too, so the fact that you didn't is very disappointing. And then again, Barkley. But anyways, with all that being said, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.